Hi Whovians, Harry here, and with speculation surrounding Billie Piper's return to Doctor Who and where Doctor Who could be heading after the 2026 Christmas special, I thought now would be a good time to go over every near cancellation in Doctor Who and the one time it was cancelled and how they all coincide with canon altering in Doctor Who. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get into the video. So, before I go into it, what is canon really mean? Well, canon is the known events happening in Doctor Who and how basically is the whole history and how a canon altering event disrupts the history and legacy of the show of what we know of and how it can change what we thought was possible before. Like The Timeless Child is a canon-altering event of the history of Gallifrey and Time Lords. But I want to show how every near cancellation in Doctor Who and the one time it was cancelled coincides with a canon-altering event. So let's get into all of them from chronological order, starting with the first Doctor. So, Doctor Who was almost cancelled when William Hartnell was announced to be leaving Doctor Who, because, Doctor Who could not carry on without the main character. However, they had an idea. How about replace the main character because the Doctor's an alien? What if he could just change his body? And this is where the first canon-altering event comes into play, regeneration. Regeneration was never a plan when Doctor Who was made or announced. It just came into necessity of wanting to continue the show. Of course, regeneration is a known thing today, but it was never originally the plan to just replace the actor whenever the actor wanted to depart the show. But it came about from necessity, altering the entire course of Doctor Who. But it doesn't just end there for, of course, near cancellations of Doctor Who and the canon-altering events that go along with them, because the second Doctor, when Patrick Troughton wanted to depart the show, they were faced with another, think of, is the show going to end there? As well as the fact that with Patrick Troughton departing, the show would have to change into a new coloured format, changing from, of course, the black and white footage to coloured footage. And they thought, would a new Doctor be able to carry the show into a completely new, different era that no other Doctor or actor had to complete with before? And, of course, they came up with the fact that they would continue, and they came up with another different thing than we thought of, a forced regeneration, which we had never seen before. Of course, there had only been one other regeneration before, and that was just a normal one. And to go along with this new forced regeneration was the inclusion of the Doctor's species, other people of his, the Time Lords. And of course, Time Lords pop up like every 2 seconds in the show, even though Gallifrey is supposedly destroyed and all Time Lords are dead. They pop up every 2 minutes, the Rani, the Master, Susan, So, but back in the second Doctor's era, we had never seen other Time Lords before, other than Susan, and back then, and kinda even now, we still don't know whether she is a true Time Lord, but we got the inclusion of the Doctor's species in the second Doctor's regeneration story, and that was a canon-altering event for everything that came after it, to go along with this near cancellation. However, then Doctor Who entered like a purple patch, a golden era, with the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and the start of the 6th Doctor's era going through really without any hint of real cancellation. However, of course, we then reached the 6th Doctor's era, where Doctor Who was put on hiatus. And when Doctor Who came back, it was, of course, followed by some canon-altering event. Because when we first meet the 6th Doctor, Mal, his companion, is just there. Now, of course, everyone knows Mal Bush now. Even fans that weren't alive like me or watched that era when it came out, we know Mal because she's been in the new, Doctor Who era with, actually first appearing in The Power of the Doctor in the 13th Doctor's era, and then appearing many times throughout the Russell T Davies 2 era. But back then, Mal just appeared, and no one knew her origin story of how she even joined the Doctor, which was something we haven't seen before or since, of how a new main companion joins the show, and we don't know how that has happened because we didn't see it, which is different to everything before and after. And also, to go with this was the bigger one of the fact that the Valeyard, a dark incarnation of the Doctor, was introduced in the Doctor Who serial Trail of the Time Lord, and the fact that we have never seen a dark incarnation of the Doctor before. The Doctor has been so full of good and morals. Yes, there have been flashes, of course, that we've seen before and after, but nothing to really seriously suggest that the Doctor would turn his back on everything and become a dangerous, dark version of himself. And the fact that the Valeyard wants to go back on his past self and steal his past regenerations, which we don't know how that can happen. Again, another kind of bootstrap paradox. But yeah, it is a canon-altering event. And of course, we now get into the actual cancellation of Doctor Who, when the 7th Doctor and Ace just walked off into the distance together. And if Doctor Who was renewed for another series, it would have shown another canon-altering event. With the Doctor and Ace going to Gallifrey and Ace training to be a Time Lord, which I don't know how that is even possible, and the fact that the Doctor would have been revealed to, have created the Time Lords along with Rassilon and Omega. And yeah, this would have been put into place and it would have changed the entire trajectory of the show. Unless they did a similar thing that they did with the Timeless Child, but I will get onto that when we get into the 13th Doctor's era and that near cancellation. But yes, this would have been a complete split for the Doctor Who universe, potentially changing the trajectory it went on forever, but it never actually happened because this time Doctor Who was indeed fully cancelled. And then, of course, we have a kind of weird, after the TV movie, if that would have resulted in another series, that would have completely changed the past, present, and future of Doctor Who. But I don't want to touch on that too much because I feel like it was a shot in the dark to get Doctor Who back on. It wasn't really a Doctor Who is not cancelled, Doctor Who is cancelled again. It was just a one-off TV movie to see if it would launch another series of Doctor Who. But then, of course, Doctor Who returned in 2005, and it went through again its second golden era, really running through until the end of the Capaldi era. But there was still no threat of Doctor Who being cancelled because it came along with Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, a winning formula the BBC thought. However, that was almost hit with cancellation. And yeah, because we know from Chris Chibnall, the 13th Doctor's regeneration was almost just a fade to black. We almost didn't see who the 13th Doctor regenerated into. There was almost no second Russell T Davies era, no second David Tennant era, and no era with the 15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. But, of course, throughout the 13th Doctor's era, there was, of course, a canon-altering event, which kind of put the fan base in this event of, I don't want to watch it anymore, which put it in threat of cancellation. And that was, of course, the Timeless Child. It was basically the Cardinal Master Plan, which is the idea that the 7th Doctor would have been revealed to have created Time Lord Society and Gallifrey, along with Rassilon and Omega. But, of course, in this one, the Timeless Child is revealed that the Doctor came from an entirely different universe, and Along with Tecteun, Rassilon and Omega, they create a Time Lord Society and Gallifrey. So, of course, this is everything different that we thought we knew about Doctor Who. Like, how can the Doctor be the maker of Time Lord Society? It goes against every canon event we've seen before. But yeah, again, another near cancellation followed by a canon-altering event, or canon-altering event that puts it in the threat of cancellation. And now we reach the final, well, at this moment, episode of Doctor Who. The most recent episode of Doctor Who, The Reality War, where Billie Piper replaces Ncuti Gatwa as the main character. Again, we don't know whether she's the Doctor or whether she's something different like the TARDIS or the Time Vortex or something. But again, it is definitely an event we have never seen before. Even with David Tennant's face coming back as the 14th Doctor, this is something new because because Billie Piper wasn't introduced as the Doctor, even when David Tennant was introduced as the 14th Doctor. Billie Piper has not yet been confirmed to be the Doctor or anything. So, again, it is something canon-altering that could, well, involve something big that could completely alter the course of Doctor Who. But we don't know about it yet. But, of course, as we don't have any Doctor Who apart from the one Christmas special, which was only kind of recently fully actually confirmed, Doctor Who almost was cancelled yet again, and it followed the fact that Billie Piper returned in a could-be canon-altering role. And yeah, basically almost every Doctor Who cancellation, well, near cancellation, and the one time it was followed by a canon-altering event. But, of course, you hardcore fans are probably thinking, wait, I've forgotten one near cancellation. And that was the fact that Doctor Who was almost cancelled when David Tennant left. And Russell T Davies had to convince the BBC that they don't cancel Doctor Who because Doctor Who is all about change and renewal. And they needed to give Stephen Moffat and Matt Smith a chance, which I am glad they did, and I think most people are. But yes, that is the one and only time Doctor Who had a near cancellation that didn't coincide with a canon-altering or canon-wrecking event. And I don't know why. So, yes, not every Doctor Who near cancellation coincides with a canon-altering event, but most of them do. Only one, the 10th to 11th Doctor, is a smooth transition, which was Doctor Who's second golden year, which I just proves that Doctor Who is a show that definitely goes up and down. And really, without all these canon-altering events, it wouldn't be the show we all know and love. Doctor Who wouldn't have continued past the 60s without all of these events. And I am glad it did, because it has just brought so many different eras of people into Doctor Who that all, well, I was going to say appreciate the show. Some people don't, but yeah. Doctor Who wouldn't be Doctor Who without these events. So even though they are canon-altering and completely drive us crazy sometimes, I am glad these happened, and hopefully the Doctor Who 2026 Christmas special can at least bring us some joy and continue with the story of Doctor Who. But until then, don't forget to, of course, leave a like on this video, also subscribe and share it out, and I will see you in the next one.